Hey, good morning, guys. This is Dr. Rob, the addiction doctor, coming live with Kristen Nolan in your face. It's almost 12 o'clock CST time. Good morning or afternoon, wherever you come from. Great to see you guys. This is the Recovery Channel podcast coming to you live every Friday around noon CST. It's been a busy week this week. What about you, Kristen? How busy have you been?
Extremely busy. My daughter just celebrated her 5th birthday. So we had a big party for her. And then 2 days ago, my family welcomed a new family member.
Oh, tell us more.
Tell us more. Baby in the family. Yes, wow. So exciting.
Wow, good. Hey, guys, we've been away for a few weeks, but we're back again, as again every Friday. So I hope you're joining. We've got some great guests coming up, and one of them today is... So let me tell you a little story first of all. I'm not going to go into detail, but I met Ally in Dallas some years ago now. It has to be some years ago because we've been here for 3 years in San Antonio. So, when I met her, there was something about her that kind of resonated with me and my early days around, and she just had something. I think you'll agree, Kristen. She had something that told me, because I have this knack, and I don't know whether it's a God thing or what, if I see an alcoholic or addict 100 meters away, I can tell you're an alcoholic or addict. But also when I meet people, I can tell whether, and some people may or may believe me, I can tell whether they're going to make it or not. And most times I have to keep my mouth shut, obviously. But I knew Ally, and I approached her, and we had a chat. I knew she was going to be one of the guys that was going to make it this time. It was just phenomenal. I mean, I know you spoke to her, Kristen, haven't you?
Yes, I spoke with her yesterday, and I was so glad that you chose her for our first show because we have so much in common. I'll tell you, it was like either God or the universe or whatever you want to call it, but it was absolutely kismet. So I'm just so excited to have her.
Yeah, it's been an amazing week, guys. If you've got any comments or concerns, you can message us straight from Facebook. That's okay. If you've got any questions for Ally, you can message or contact me or private message me as we go through the show because this is live on Facebook and YouTube. So are you ready, Kristen?
I'm ready.
Are you ready, guys at home? She's be back right after this. Back, guys. My name is Dr. Rob, the addiction doctor. I'm with Kristen Nolan, my co-host. It's an absolute honor and pleasure, and I know some guys are listening and watching, to introduce Ally. Ally, it's so good to see you again. How have you been?
I've been pretty excellent, Rob. It is great to see you, my friend. Really good to see you.
I know. Okay, so where do we start? Let's go back because I have a bunch of questions and inquiries when I advertise you coming on. So take it back. I mean, do you have a problem with drugs and alcohol or alcohol and not drugs? How does that go?
Both. You name it. Just give it to me.
Yeah. Anything that makes me feel a little bit better and out of me, that'll do for me. I mean, I'm primarily an alcoholic, but I like drugs as well, or I used to. So yeah, it's good. So tell me back to the beginning. A couple of things I'm going to ask you. One of them is an easy one. The other one, which we'll get into later, but I'm going to warn you about it now. We're going to get into the trauma as a kid, because that obviously spikes addiction as a whole. So tell me where it first started. Take me back to the childhood period.
Well, one of my earliest memories is me and my little sister are 5 years apart. Both my parents are alcoholics. They were very verbally abusive towards each other, not towards me or anything, but I had to watch it with them. My sister was born, and I just remember having all this anxiety all the time. And I felt like all the time, like I couldn't breathe. And I remember telling my mom, I can't breathe, And it was just anxiety and watching them fight and being left with my sister at a very young age. My parents separating, I mean, you name it. It got to the point where my mom then had a man come into her life that put us all through a lot of fucking hell. Excuse my language. I'm sorry.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. You're okay, good. Cool. I was like, crap. He was an abusive, narcissistic man that, did things like pull the phone out of the wall when you're on the line with 911 and then tell you to lie about it in court kind of shit. So that kind of, I guess that kind of messed me up a little bit.
Understandably.
Yeah. So
as a kid, did you like feel different, or like when you were in school? Do you think that you were born with alcoholism, or do you think that it developed?
it's funny, looking back now and knowing the things that I know in my recovery. The first time I ever drank, I was like 13, and it was wine, and my dad gave it to me, and to chug it because I wanted to know what the big deal was, that the stuff people were drinking, but it was awful. Anyway, instantly I could breathe. I was like, oh, but at the same time, it made me sick. But I remember when I started feeling sick, not knowing anything, I went back to that wine. I went back to it thinking, I don't feel good. I need to put more of this in me. So I think I was born it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, I've researched over the last 20 years, studying the brain and neuroplasticity and brain science as a whole. And we are born this way. It's passed down from our generations. If your dad hasn't got it, your grandfather has, kind of thing. And it's a predisposition. Simple as that. The biochemicals disease. And there's a bunch of other stuff, obviously, in there, spiritual malady and all that stuff going on. But at the end of the day, alcoholism and drug addiction are slightly different. Whereas the alcoholic brain is born and takes a small sip of alcohol and then they are done. That's them tied to life. A drug addict brain is not born this way, but they have the addictive tendencies. Mm-hmm. And what happens with the alcoholic is my brain is allergic to the ethanol in alcohol, and that's the difference. Now, they present themselves the same over any period of time. It's just that from that first drink, from that first whatever we get, and we go, oh, I've interviewed people and they're like 56, 57. They go, oh, I can remember it. I was like 5 years old. And I'm like, what? That's what I first started studying. I'm like, you did? Oh, yeah, it was an handkerchief with whiskey on it that my dad dabbed on my tooth. And the next day she's looking for the whiskey. And I said, oh, yeah, that's a true alcoholic. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Would you change anything about your early days? Did you have a happy childhood, do you think?
There are a lot of parts of it that were very happy. But there is a lot, yes and no. I don't know. I'm very torn between that. I got a lot of cool opportunities. I did a lot of cool things. A lot of it was show, but at the same time, I had a good time doing that at the same time. So no, I guess not.
Ally, when I spoke with you, you were telling me about your rock bottom, and you said that you saw a crisis hotline come on TV. Do you, now looking back, do you think that was like God, the universe meant to be? Because that jumped out at me so much.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I had nothing left, nobody else to talk to, and it just crisis hotline. And I literally was like, well, what do I have to lose? You know what I mean?
I got the chills right now.
Right. It's, looking back now, I'm just like, that's so God doing for me.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool.
God shot. That's hardcore. What we call it.
Yeah. God shots, baby.
So you started on the alcohol stuff. When did it change over to drug addiction as well? Do you remember that defining moment, or?
Well, it took me a long time to realize I was kind of a drug addict too, because my love was alcohol. But when I started drinking my senior year in high school, I started having panic attacks, hungover and whatnot. So my doctor put me on Klonopin. And it's like, oh, what happens if I take 2? And just over time, I was on that prescribed for 13 years. But it got to a point where like they were all gone in a week. And then the rest of the month I'm looking for them to just not feel sick,
Total addict behavior, right?
Oh my God. It was horrible.
Yep.
Horrible. It's the worst thing ever. So yeah, I would go a long period of time of not drinking and think, oh, look at me. I'm so sober.
Yeah.
Taking pills. I mean, you name it. Because you couldn't tell. You couldn't smell it. I wasn't falling all over the place. you know.
We talked about how you went to, this was one thing that really jumped up out at me too, was when you said you were doing really well. And then all of a sudden you thought you were hot stuff because you were doing your recovery. You were doing really good. You were functioning. And then you said that I realized I'm not special. And that jumped up out at me so much because that reminded me how much ego will really take us down. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. After I was kind of gone back out and stopped, I had a lot of AA in my head, so getting messed up was never the same after that. But I was like, I was drinking very quietly, I guess. I'm a person that wants to go to jail and get into fights, but I wasn't doing any of that. So I thought God had blessed me until, I had lost everything, but then I gained my dog back, got an apartment. And then one night I blacked out drunk and didn't take my dog out for a walk, which I worked really hard to get back. And I was like, fuck, here we go again. So frustrating.
Insanity.
Yeah.
What do you think brought that on, Ally?
I'm sorry?
What brought that relapse on? What would bring that relapse on for you?
I quit working my program. I moved out of the 24-hour club and I just thought, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But then I stopped doing meetings. And then, it was just really easy to fall back into it.
Yeah.
So easy.
Ally, tell me about the time when you met Dr. Rob.
I got to meet Dr. Rob when I was living at the 24-hour club here in Dallas. I got to move in there for like 8 months after I got out of rehab. And I was in a meeting and this big dude comes up in there, just fuck this, fuck that. And I was just like, I remember being like intimidated at the time. And I was like, hey man, I really like what you said, which I did because it was awesome. And we just started talking and he was like, yeah, you doing this? Or you doing that? You're doing this. And like, gives me a 20. He's like, here, go, buy some cigarettes, go get some, whatever. I was just like, thanks, man. It was just like one of the coolest things, just like, here, I was just not used to that kind of thing. It was pretty cool.
It made me smile though, because guys, I got to tell you this. When I went out to her and I said, I got $20 out and I can give it to her, she's like, what do I have to do? She had that look on her face like, people don't do this. What are you doing? Right. And I was right. You bought that bus ticket, didn't you?
I did. I bought a week one.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see people, change and get on with their life. Because that's what it's about. It's about, getting well. Being a recovered alcoholic for me has opened so many doors. And it just means today that I get to live the life that I've always wanted. I created this life that I aimed for, and we have ups and downs on the way like everybody does, but I just wanted this crazy life. And 6 years ago I met my wife Janet, and we started that crazy life to what this is what we want out of life. We want them cars, we want that house, we want them dogs, and I kept working with people and working in my practice, and it just comes true. Aren't you a cook in a French restaurant?
Yeah.
If I'd have told you that on that day, would you believe me?
No, absolutely not.
I love that. It's so true when they say like a life beyond our wildest dreams.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that I would have full sole custody of my daughter, that I would be 3 years sober. If someone would have told me that, I would have laughed and be like, you don't know me. Right. It's just so amazing. And to me, it sounds like one of the missing pieces to the puzzle for you was humility. People think humility is like, oh, or that I'm humiliated, but that's so not what it is. It's about being right sized, right? So what does it mean to you?
To be right sized?
To be humble. Like, do you think that was a big thing in your life that kept you sober?
Yes, I've had to be really humbled because I've always had that ego, and that's been one of the harder things to let go of. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You definitely need to be grounded in this. I remember back when I was back in Dallas, there was two good friends I used to see in 12-step meetings all the time, and they died. In fact, 3 of them. I never get tired of being hit in the face with that stuff. I know it's dreadful and horrible, and I hope it never happens to you guys out there, but it still reminds me that I don't care how much money you've got. I don't care what you do for a living or your upbringing. At the end of the day, if you don't do your shit, you'll fucking relapse. That's the bottom line. And I tell these people all the time, and especially at work, is like, well, you shouldn't be speaking that crudely to the parent. No, parents, if you don't get help for your son, he's going to fucking die. You know, one thing I found with this deal is sugarcoating this deal kills people. That's the bottom line. You know, oh, there, Johnny. Fuck it, the Johnny. Why aren't you on the same program that got me to a different place, Johnny? Ally Millinder's on the show, guys. We'll be right back after a quick word from Take 12 Radio. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. That was Take 12 Radio. If you're just listening to this, the oldest running radio show on addiction ever. And Monty Man will sort you out. Just search Monty Man online, you'll get him there. Absolutely amazing. Great. So tell me, Ally, when you're going through all this trauma, you get to be in your teens, you're going forward and doing stuff. When was the time you realized that, shit, I think I've got it? I think I could change my life around, right? I think I can do it.
Man. When did I think that? That's a good question. I don't really know. And I don't know if I ever really planned on it, like actually planned on changing my life. I just literally kind of like sat around and waited for the miracle to happen, because I'm not where I thought I was going to be, but I'm definitely not where I was. Yeah, I don't think I had plans to. The program and being in recovery, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this stuff.
When you said you wasn't where you thought you'd be, what did that look like for you?
Well, when I was younger, I dabbled in firefighting. I wanted to be an EMT paramedic. I or do something where I was helping people more physically. But I started drinking, and I never followed through with any of those things. And I often wonder, where I'd be. Kind of.
Is it too late? Is it too late? Fuck no, it's not too late.
I shake my head. I shake my head all calmly, Dr. Rob.
Kristen, she looks like an EMS. She looks like a firefighter.
Absolutely.
You've got that look.
That would fit her perfect. And you want to know something? I knew she was badass when I talked to her yesterday. And to be an EMT is the most badass thing you could do. So much respect for them. Thank you, all you EMTs out there.
Amen. Thank you.
Absolutely. Ally, I wanted to know, what were because I always say, like, when you get recovery, it's like a puzzle, and there are many pieces that you have to do to complete that puzzle. What are your pieces to the recovery puzzle?
I'm so hard-headed. It was going back out and trying to do it an easier, softer way many more times to realize that it doesn't work like that, and that my puzzle has been crazy, but it's a good puzzle. And every day I learn something new and figure out something different about myself, or
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember back in the day, I just didn't think I could live without alcohol. Didn't think I could live with it. The stuff that book talks about. It's amazing how we copy that book. Because when I first went to a 12-step meeting, people started talking about me. I thought my mom had gone around and told them that I was coming and to tell me these stories, because he started talking. God, that's me. She's been around. I know she's been around telling all these guys, but she hadn't, because I found out in the 30-odd years I've been doing this, is there as a cookie cutter for not psychologically, but for the traits of an alcoholic. And we all think we're different when we come into this deal. It's like, oh no, nobody understands me. You don't, I'm going through, oh, Dr. Rowe, I'm depressed. Fuck, really? I have bipolar. Really? Of course you do. You have all these symptoms that's going on. Because it's amazing once we look at, and a famous book calls it a psychic change, psychic of the mind change your mind. That's all it is, a change your mind, and to reset neural pathways and keep them that way is bound along with the spiritual awakening, psychic change, which in actual fact changes your DNA. Why is that important, you may ask? Because the book says the same man's going to drink again. I didn't want to be the same man. So when I had that spiritual awakening, psychic change, and my DNA change, that's my findings, by the way. No ego here, 30 years of hard work finding that out. But yeah, it's a whole new, different just form of living. It's a different way of life and looking at things. And I still get pissed off today when when my second marriage broke out, I stayed at the 24-hour club, and I was there for about 3 months, I want to say. I had no job. I had no money. I had nowhere to go. All the friends were her friends. I was had nothing.
Wow.
Nobody came to see me, nothing. The cook behind the counter, he was a great guy. He used to give me free coffee in the morning when I got up. And then he used to have to walk outside and sit there all day because I couldn't get a job. I had no driving license. I'd lost that. It was just an absolute mayhem. And the stuff I went through after the meetings closed down, we all got our little rucksacks out and we all lay on the floor with cockroaches crawling over us and mice and everything. We would laugh our heads off because I came from a ranch that was worth about 1.2 million. And I'm saying this because this is where we find our peace. But in that room with them people were my people. It was phenomenal. We often cried ourselves to sleep.
Absolutely.
It was phenomenal. Are you glad where you are, Ally? Are you proud of yourself? Have you stopped and patted yourself on the back yet?
Woo!
Very happy with where I am. Yes, I'm very humbled and grateful. And I know what it means to be a grateful alcoholic, like all that cool stuff.
I love it.
What do you think, Ally? What do you think when I have it on here? Like, do you think, of course, addiction is a disease. This is a bit controversial because some people, no, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. How do you feel? Do you think it's a disease? And if you do, what do you think about when people say it's not?
I obviously know that they're normal. Because you have to live it. There's no way to explain it at all. And I don't blame them for not knowing. I mean, how are you supposed to know? You're not living it like we are. So I just hang with my people and let the rest of all that slide, and then apply, let it fly.
I kind of feel, and I could be wrong, but this is my own little hypothesis or theory that I feel that a lot of the people that don't want to believe that it's a disease are jaded in a way. Like they either experienced an addict or they experienced something really negative associated to that. So it's almost like they're shut off from it. I don't want to believe that. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because you have to sympathize with someone with a disease and they don't want to, because us alcoholics have burned bridges, hurt people, shit on everybody we love, So I really honestly do feel, how, we learn to check our motives and to really get down to the nitty gritty of our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. And I truly do feel like with all my heart that these people, a lot of them are jaded, and understandably so. I totally understand that, mentality. Ally, I did want to ask you a question. What has been your biggest challenge in recovery?
Sitting in my feelings.
Oh,
man. An old timer once told me the best part about getting sober is the good thing about getting sober is you can feel again. The bad part about getting sober is you can feel again. And man, I've had to really sit in some feelings this week, and some feelings I've never felt before. And I know that I know that this program works if you work, if you're a 12-stepper by any means, it works if you work at this program. You just got to keep trying and do what, I just know it works.
I think
sitting in feelings.
In my industry, which is obviously addiction, and the knowledge is, knowing what you're doing is paramount. So full knowledge of your condition, the book calls it, which is so true. I mean, I go in meetings now, and I just for giggles, I say to somebody, "What's an alcoholic?" And you go, "Oh, it's someone who drinks too much alcohol. We want to stop drinking." And I'm like, "Fuck no! It's got 1% to do with the alcohol. The rest got to do with all the malady, the fucked up childhood, the neural pathways, the trauma, the drama. You know, to put you in the position you're in now. It's got if the alcohol is the symptom." What's the problem? So it's a bit like my chicken pox. You can see the spots on the outside of me. So you think about chicken pox. That's the symptom. I've actually got a viral infection that could kill me as an adult. So it's misunderstanding. And we try so hard to educate people. But like you said, Kristen, a lot of people don't want to be educated. It's just like, my dad all the time, can you just stop for the sake of your kids? So I stabbed my wife 3 times one night. And then he kind of understood, you know, this is not a choice. This is the hyper. Well, look, this is the alcoholic brain, and eventually the addicted brain. The hypothalamus, which is at the base of the bottom, its main job, it's the fight or flight, and it tells us into the prefrontal cortex that you have to eat food and drink water to survive. That's why we never have to show a baby how to eat. It's got its hand down its mouth when it's hungry. We feed him. It's just a natural thing that we do. You know what it tells the alcoholic when full-blown alcoholism comes on? It tells us to drink alcohol. That's why alcoholics can go days and weeks without eating food or drinking water, because the brain is telling us to drink alcohol. So the psychic change, which is vital, necessary to life, has to happen. Otherwise, I get to die. I don't get out of this. I don't get to, unless I go to jail and stay in there for the rest of my life, I don't get to do this as often as I can. I don't get to relapse whenever I want to, because one of these days I'm not being able to come back. And I've had a few of them. Actually, I was killed twice in 6 suicide attempts, and my heart stopped, and they brought me back on the side of a smelly, dirty, horrible road and back into Manchester. You know, these things we go through is unbelievable. Do you ever get the feeling, Ali, that A, we should have died many, many times, and B, that you've been chosen to carry the message?
Yes, and yes, 100%.
What are the signs you've had for carrying the message to other alcoholics and addicts?
What? I'm sorry, one more time?
What are the signs that you have? What are the tools that you have to help other people? How do you know you have to help other people?
Well, you know, I did, like, you know, I tried to die too, and I wasn't granted so. So that's when I got up and got the crisis hotline. And, you know, if I'm not going to do that, you know, you've got to give this stuff away to keep it. So I just
absolutely.
And I've reached many people. One more time.
I always describe it as like earning my keep.
Right.
You know, in order for me to stay blessed and stay sober. I mean, it is so true. You know, the being of service and the helping people. I mean, it's like a piece, and it's another thing that a lot of normies don't understand. You know, they say, you know, why do you do this for people when, you know, you don't have the time, or you don't have this, or they don't help you. And it's like, it's not about that. You know, it's not about that for us. You know, and like you guys said that, you know, they just don't understand. But that's what the beauty is about us and our program and our fellow and our just our community is how much we understand each other, and you know, just no one else does.
We have a different language, that's for sure. I mean, we have the recovery language. You know, I often stop at signal lights and I will give somebody some money, and whoever's in my car will go, "Oh, you know what they're going to go and do with that?" And I go, "I fucking hope they're going to buy drugs and alcohol with it, because if I was homeless, that's what I would be doing." Next question. It's not my deal to find out what they're going to do with it.
Absolutely, that's what I always say too. I say once it's a gift, it's what I'm giving them to help them throughout their day, whatever they need to get through their day. I mean, you're not sitting on the corner. You don't know what it's like. A lot of people, I don't think, realize that you just really have to be in someone's shoes to be able to say what you would do, or you know, because you're not that person. So yeah, I'm the same way. I'll give them $1 or $2 or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't care what they do with it. That's not the point, you know.
It's all about working with others and saving lives.
Absolutely. What is your message for addicts and alcoholics who are still suffering, and for the message and for their families of people who are in active addiction?
Okay, my message for people still suffering is just literally keep coming back. Just don't give up. And the only way that you fail is if you don't come back, because everybody thinks that they fail when they relapse. It's not a failure. And then I have to say for families, just, just keep loving them, love them hard. Don't give yourself away too much, and just know that these addicts and alcoholics, it's not that we don't love you and we can't stop, because for you or for your kid, it's deeper than that. That's all I got.
We went on a rampage once. I mean, out there telling people that there's a difference between a Friday night alcoholic and a Friday night drunk. One needs to be locked in jail until he sobers up. The other needs treatment or help of some kind. Alexander Fidalgo, I'm sorry for pronouncing your second name, says yes. He's on board with everything you say, which is awesome. So as usual, we're running out of time. I could stay all day, Alice, speaking to you. It's been a great 30 minutes, but what would you like to leave the general public or people that are listening, or shout outs to people before we part ways?
Do I want to shout out to people?
Shout out, or what would you leave the people watching? Leave them with a message.
Keep coming back. Works if you work it.
Keep coming back.
And you are loved.
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much, Ally Millinder. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
Ally.
This.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Welcome back, guys. That was Ally Millinder on the show. Such a great story. There's loads more to a story as well from the little liner, but that was good, Kristen, yeah?
Yes. Oh, she's just wonderful. Like I said, it was all meant to be. We are just have so much in common, and I just love her.
Me too. I just got a message in. Alexandra again. Love the dignity. Yeah, she has a lot of dignity. She's just an amazing person. She really is. I just love her to bits. So what does the week hold for you, Kristen?
Well, I think I'm gonna try to get back on track with my my working out, because last week I was so busy. So my daughter's birthday and just setting up for that and running around, getting her ready for school. So this week I think I'm going to really dedicate to my fitness.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Guys, this is a Recovery Channel podcast. This has been myself and Kristen. We'll see you next week on Friday. We have a brand new guest every week that we're going to interview. And again, we're just looking so forward to the following, so forward to all your questions. We love you to bits. And I just want to say one thing, guys. If you're listening at home or watching at home and you don't think you're going to amount to anything, you don't think you're going to be any good, you don't think you can achieve anything, I want to apologize to you guys. Somebody's put that there. We are born with $1 million minds, alcoholics and addicts. Stop hanging around 10-cent minds. If you hang around with 9 depressed people, you will become the 10th. So have a fantastic week from me. And I'll leave Ally to say bye to, Kristen to say bye to everyone.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in, and have a wonderful week.
Bye, guys. See you next week.